Hey guys, it's bringing you another video. Now welcome to another Ask Riot dev update type video. I like doing these because it kind of gets us more in depth of the actual game itself and how is Riot feeling and kind of having a discussion about it all. So in the comments, let me know your opinions on what we talk about today. And the first couple that we're going to go through, the topics aren't big, but the third one is quite meaty and it's to do with this boy here. It's to do with VGUs and reworks and all that type of thing, because we've spoken about it in the past, but I think this is potentially the first time ever Riot has publicly put something out about how and what happened and how it's changed their philosophy with reworks. But we'll get onto that in a bit. So and by the way, if you can like this video, comment down below. That does help quite a bit. So after a brief hiatus, we're happy to say Ask Riot is back in session. So let's kick off the year with questions about champions, VGUs, and skins. Again, it's all popular, questions. And even like this, there's a lot of people out there that we all love League. And some people out there don't like the fact that champion skins and everything only now come in the same theme every single patch. So like the Battle Queens or the Battle Academia, like that's all you're getting per skin launch. Back in the day, if you're a newer player League, you may not know this, but back in the day, when a new patch came out and there was 3 or 4 new skins out, they were all just completely different skins. Like there was no theme to them. So let's have a little look. So why are all skins you now make in a line instead of unique ones for each champ? There's a number of reasons why we've had more releases that are a collection of skins within a single thematic. One is that we're investigating more into the world of into the world building, there we go, and visual development of our thematics. Spirit Blossom is a great example of this. While we developed the thematic for some time, invest a lot of effort into build a creative foundation, then want to build more than just a couple of skins in order to make sure that we explore the thematic sufficiently for its initial release. During bigger drops or more skins per thematic release also gives us opportunities to bring lower player rate champions into major and new thematics. Spirit, Blossom, Kindred is a great example. So again, we'll read it and then talk about it. This doesn't preclude us from making one-off skins. Sometimes there will be champs that just don't cleanly fit with the thematic we're developing, and we'll be keeping an eye out for a single, the opportunity basically. So in essence, what their Riot is saying is they are wanting to have more of a cohesive world, it kind of seems, and it's a lot more connected when, hey, we're releasing 6 new skins and they're all the same line and they kind of look the same and it's the same theme. It does seem to me, at least, and where Riot does say, they are world building, I'd say that yes, they are. Again, if you have completely missed the announcement, Riot is making an MMO. So when it comes to world building and stuff, it's as crazy as this sounds, but like some of the skin lines that are in League could end up as armor sets in that MMO. Like as crazy as that sounds, it could happen. So when they're kind of building out a theme, and a lot of the time now, if you notice, whenever with the new client, well, not new client, with the client, whenever there's a skin launch now, we have that whole big homepage that is all about the theme. So you've got the loots, you've got all the missions, you've got all the different skins, that it's all there. And when it's all the same skin, it makes more sense. So, all the same skin theme. So I can see why Riot are doing it. Obviously, let's not hide away that Riot will most likely have the data as well, that them doing this most likely sells more. Like, they're not going to say that out loud, but there are skin collectors like myself that exist, and not even just skin collectors, people that want to feel completion. And if they... the way of it sometimes is if there's 5 new skins and you as a player like 3 of them, you really like 3 of them, you love the theme, you absolutely love the theme, 3 of the champions you adore. Well, okay, I don't play the other 2 champions right now. I'll buy the skins just in case. I love the theme. I'm buying the skin set for the other 3. I may as well buy the other 2. That's probably part of it as well. So let's not hide away from that, but there we go. Next up is what happened to the VGU you announced that was going to come after Mundo. We ran into some unexpected delays and never really got started on the VGU we announced in September's champion roadmap. As such, we decided to make good on our original promise, which was to let you all decide which champion we should update next. The poll results are nearly in. We're excited to announce the winning champion who will receive the next VGU after Mundo next week. So we get to find out. The winner of the thematic vote will also be revealed then. I voted for Udyr. in the next VGU update. Let me know in the comments who you went for and why. The reason why I went for Udyr, just to kind of put it out there, all 5 champions I think could have a rework to some degree, but Udyr to me seems the most in need. Like, yes, Udyr randomly now is getting some pro play, but obviously it's a bit of a weird play style, and a lot of it is just item that's our strong, not the actual champion. But I just think Udyr's been around for such a long time. He is basically a meme of a champion. He always has been. It's the trick 2J, the gates, and split pushing, and then running away from the whole enemy team. That's what Udyr is. So it would be kind of cool to actually bring him into Season 11, 2021 League of Legends. And his theme's really cool. Again, he's like a druid, right? He's a druid that can transform. It would be cool if we see that, like, properly. So I don't know how they would properly adapt the champion completely. Like, I had a wacky idea, but I just don't know if it would work. I don't know if Riot would do enough of it. And we're going to get onto another topic that I would say this idea will just not happen. My idea was basically take Kayn and put Udyr on the Kayn steroids. And what I mean by that is Kayn, in-game, can get currency basically by attacking either a ranged champion or a melee champion to make him red form or blue form. So, you have multiple forms, and then your whole playstyle is from that. What if Udyr had kind of the same thing, that he had to specialize somehow, and his whole kit changes from that? So, and you could do it for all 5. You could be, right, you are attacking melee champions. Okay, you're going to earn Tiger currency, and then you are a melee auto-attacking, high auto-attack speed, like a Tryndamere, as an Udyr. Okay, then you do something with Turtle Stance. Okay, you're now a tank. You're like Sejuani. Like, you are a tanky boy. You don't do any damage, but you're a tanky boy. Bear, you increase CC, I don't know, something like that. Maybe even gives him, like, a root or something from ranged. And then his Ultimate Phoenix, that's his mage form. Who the hell cares? Like, that would be awesome. So, like, basically 4 champions within one. That would be how I would do Udyr. But it's never going to happen. But yeah, let me know who you guys voted in the poll. We will find out next week, so that's good. But then on to the big boy topic, the one that I'm actually making this video for. Basically, what is one experience with creating or reworking a champion that led to a drastic change in how all champions were handled? Now, there should be no surprise of which champion this is. This is Aatrox. So, Aatrox, when it comes to reworks, was the most controversial. And I'd partially say, like, he obviously fundamentally did change. He went from an auto-attacking lifesteal champion to a combo bruiser champion, in essence. But let's see what Riot has to say and then talk about it a bit more. I don't know about a specific champion that led to a drastic change on how we handle all champions, but there was a VGU that changed how we handled all VGUs, and that was Aatrox. Prior to Aatrox, new champions VGUs had the same primary goal, which was to drive engagement. In other words, new champs and updates were designed to get lots of players to play them, and that way League constantly felt fresh, whether you're playing with it or against the champion. This doesn't mean every champion had to be super popular. We sometimes create champs we know will be niche, but we hope will have a dedicated player base. Aurelion Sol probably is a great example of that. New champions VGUs had a very similar, very different secondary goals though. For new champions, our secondary goal was and still is to expand League's IP. So fill in a new niche. And I'd say Riot, for the most part, hasn't been great at doing this, and I'd say they haven't been succeeding at this recently for me. Like, their, last 10 champions, more often than not, is a human that's in shape that looks like a pop star. Like, how's that expanding League's IP? That's not, like, really expanding League's IP, but that's the way the game's going. And then for VGUs, the secondary goal was to build players' trust in our dev team and keep League feeling up to date. I could see that's what Riot was trying to do with VGUs. It's like, this is an old champion that League, is near and dear to League of Legends. We're going to change it, but we're going to try and make you guys happy about it. And if they do that, then League's like, hey, well done, Riot. But obviously with Aatrox, there's a bit of a different story for the most people. Because of our primary goals for VGUs was getting people to play the champions, we'd sometimes make choices that we felt would make the champs more engaging and exciting to the broader player base, even if it sometimes meant we had to take drastic changes to the champion's play pattern or style. It's easy to see fault in this approach now, but those are the goals that we thought made sense at the time. In any case, that is how we approached Aatrox Update. As such, we ended up with a champion with a much higher play rate amongst dedicated player base, and we were judging success solely based on our primary goal. Then Aatrox was a success, which again, going off what they want more people to play the champions. They're doing a rework of a low play rate champion. Oh my god, the play rate's doubled or tripled. We did it. But in the cost of it, the new engagement came with the cost of alienating a lot of old Aatrox players. It also made many players afraid of their favourite champions to get a VGU. This is something I've always said, in the fear that we changed them so far from what they love, they wouldn't love them anymore. After Aatrox's update, we swapped the primary and secondary goals of VGUs. Players' trust became and remains the primary goal of VGUs, and even if that means the champ ends up being a little less engaging or exciting for the broader player base, I'd say, I know this is going to sound controversial what I'm about to say, Pantheon is a good example of this. And obviously, yes, we have seen a resurgence in Pantheon recently due to items and stuff like that, but Pantheon is very similar to his old Pantheon, and that would make the old Pantheon players be like, hey, it's still my Pantheon. And yes, it did get a bunch of play, and that's good, but obviously the wave kind of dipped. The wave's gone back up again, but let's probably expect another dip. But next up is, in some ways, when we update a champion, we're really updating something that's no longer ours. It's a character that sometimes millions of players have grown to love globally, and we want to make sure we do good by you all first and foremost. This is part of the reason we've begun doing VGU polls. It's also why we release multiple dev vlogs throughout the development, so we can get earlier feedback from more players on the direction we're headed, and make adjustments based on that feedback. We hope this new approach is something that can be felt in on all that stuff. So basically, I've said for years, one of the biggest negatives, well, there's many, but a big negative of one-tricking or having a very small dedicated champion pool that you don't change, like literally for years, is you become very reliant on those champions. And I've always said, what happens if? And I know it's an if, and it may never happen to your champion, but what happens if your champion gets a VGU, an update, a rework, and then fundamentally the champion changes? A great example was Aatrox. Imagine if you, a one-trick Aatrox player, you made it to Diamond, even higher than Diamond, but you are a dedicated one-trick player. You are, in essence, and this is where it does get a bit iffy, but in essence, let's say it's a Diamond 1 Aatrox one-trick. You're a Diamond 1 Aatrox one-trick. You're not really a Diamond 1 player. You're probably a Diamond player if you were to play other champions, but where you currently are in rank, you are an Aatrox Diamond 1 player. Aatrox gets fundamentally reworked into something completely different. Playstyle is completely different. All of what you know, the years of you collecting the data and knowledge and the skill set to do really well as Aatrox is gone. That is the player that gets heavily affected by these VGUs, because you are now arguably not really a Diamond 1 Aatrox player anymore, because you're having to start kind of again from a new Aatrox. So that's what Riot, I think, is kind of doing here. Is what they're actually doing is giving you, the community, a little bit of confidence in that if you do want to kind of dedicate yourself to a champion or a small amount of champions, they're trying to say to you, even if a VGU does happen, we're not going to fundamentally change the champion anymore. And again, we knew this for a while, and I was like, I heard stories from rioters and stuff that like people involved in the Aatrox update were getting threats against them and stuff like that. I heard it was that bad, and obviously that would be quite scary as a dev team. And obviously, I would never condone that behavior. That is disgusting if anybody took part in that. But what it also does show, and like Riot's even said here, is that there are players that love, that's the word that they're using, but they are reliant on those champions. And when Riot is taking away that and changing that, those players are going to lash out. Like, it's like a one trick that's getting banned in Champion Select but doesn't want to dodge. You're like, oh god, it's like a wild animal. You're like, what's going to happen here? So Riot's basically giving you guys, the community, just a little nod, going, hey, we see you, Udyr main. You know, we're not gonna, if the Udyr does win the poll, you'll still probably be okay as an Udyr player. Because, yeah, I heard in communities, in these polls that Riot was doing, they are for the major player base. That's the point. They are for the major player base to vote on champions. Oh, that'll be a really good thing, and it goes by popular vote. But the actual main communities who main the champions in the poll hate them because they are scared of their champion being changed. So what I'd say now is this hopefully is going to give you guys the confidence that Riot isn't going to fundamentally change your champion. That's good. Again, I'm in the other boat that I actually wish Riot would fundamentally change the champion. If the player number is so low and the champion needs a rework, then I think it does need a completely fresh look. Like, what you have to also think is a lot of the champions that are getting VGUs are 10 years old. Riot has grown a lot in development and design in 10 years. So for me, I wouldn't mind complete reworks, but I know I'm also a complete outlier as a player. I play a lot of things for years, so I really don't mind. Like, I'm not the person that they're trying to help here and do VGUs for, so it's not my kind of thing. But for you guys, you can have the confidence that they're not going to fundamentally change the champion. So that's good. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. If you are happy about this, that Riot isn't going to be completely changing champions when they do reworks to them, let me know. What champions do you think should get reworks, and which one did you vote for in the poll recently? And we'll find out the answers to that next week. And if you haven't voted, you can still vote on the client. But anyway, that's going to be it. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.